Hi, everybody. It's Craig from Doc Sports, and we're back with your Docs Daily. We're going a little early today. Usually it's 1 to 1:30 Eastern Standard Time. We're going to do 20 minutes college basketball only because all of us want to do just what you're doing, which is get to watching the games. I've watched a little of this Louisville-Creighton game, and, good game to start with. I'm so far on the wrong side. I kind of thought Louisville would win, being a home game basically for Louisville. So we'll see. You never know. It's, not quite halftime. But anyway, we'll talk all things college basketball today. Don't forget, go to docsports.com/free60 to get your free $60 account right here. Just go there. All new customers. Of course, if you're an existing customer, you know what to do. Get in our top plays today. I do have my 8-unit game of the year, going to college hoops. Hopefully, it's in my 4-pack of games, so that comes. It's $30 for a day, or you can get all the March Madness passes for any capper for $149. Nick, what's your top play here in college hoops today?
Yeah, we got
not who, but like,
I'm not. No, I won't give it out there. But we got a 5-unit, and we got a part of a 3-pack going out tonight. So we're locked and loaded. I'm feeling really good about tomorrow's slate of games, but we're gonna stick with it today. Thursday, first day, 5-unit, and we got a 3-pack tonight, Craig.
Yeah, remember, part of buying some of us is the money management part, because that is probably the biggest problem when it comes to big days like today, and it doesn't get any bigger the next 4 days, is that people go crazy. So get in on one of the cappers, so that way you kind of know the unit levels and all that. There's more, what do they call that, method to the madness. So make sure you get on that. Griffin, what do you have for today as far as top plays?
Yeah, Craig. So yesterday ended up going 1-0 in NHL, cleaned that up, swept the boards on NBA. And then as far as my college hoops, I did win my card, had a successful day across the boards, although I did drop my 7-unit prop. We're going to let that one go and bounce back. I've got to say, I absolutely love this card today, the way this bracket came out. Very interesting lines. Love the games. I've got 3 plays inside of my college basketball card today, including a 5-unit best bet. I've got 12 units loaded on tap. So I'm fired up and ready to go, Craig. It's March Madness. I mean, let's get it rolling. Come on, boys. Let's get it going.
I mean, I love how you led with the NHL, right? Like, he asked him about his top play. He's like, well, I went 1-0 in the NHL last night, right? Like, yeah, like.
We cashed it. We had the Maple Leafs. Come on. We'll take it.
Don't forget, hit that like and subscribe button and before you get in on all that stuff. Robert, I know, usually, this is danger day. Like I always say, first day is danger day. How many plays you got loaded up for everybody tonight?
Got a tight little 10-play card going today. A lot of little nibbles though. A lot of 2-unit, 1-unit plays. I do have one 7-unit hammer that I wasn't going to. I got to tell you, I like the potential matchups in the second round more than I like the first round. Like Nick said that he really likes tomorrow's card. I'm with Griffin. I like today's card. I just like the board today a lot more than tomorrow. For instance, one of my favorite plays, I'll give it to you right now there, the people that are watching this, is Baylor. One of my first plays, one of my favorite plays tomorrow is going to be the early play, and I can tell you that I'm going to be on Baylor. But I will have a smaller card tomorrow, a little bigger card today. I wasn't expecting to have this 7-unit play, if that makes sense. Sometimes when the bracket's announced, I'm just like, boom, done. That's it. Already know the number. Like this game. That wasn't the case with this one. This was one where I kind of went the opposite, where I saw this matchup and I was like, God damn it. I wanted to bet on this team and I hate their matchup. And then the more I thought about it, I was like, yeah, I really hate this matchup for this team. They might get pounded here. So that's the genesis of a 7-unit play with Robert Ferringo.
I like today's card a little better for the sides. Tomorrow, I kind of like a couple totals a little more. It's just kind of how it worked out, But to me, I always say be careful with totals, especially, I always say as an expert, we kind of lean towards the unders because that's the opposite of what the public's betting. But remember, at the end of these games, tons of fouls if it's close. I mean, even if you're down 8, your season's on the line, you're going to foul a million times. So just be careful if you're betting unders in the NCAA tournament. It is factored in a little bit on the number already, but still, I mean, I've seen, 18 points in the last, 45 seconds of a game or a minute of a game, and that can just ruin it. Good.
Interesting that Texas did not do that last night, too. For those of you that watched the Xavier-Texas game, I feel bad for August Young, who did lose his top play with Texas. They controlled that game. That was his 8-unit game of the year. So sorry to him. I did have Xavier, I will say, just because they were one of 2 teams I said that I was going to – if they made the tournament, I was going to bet them no matter what. And I did. But, yeah, they had a chance to foul with like 45 seconds left down. They didn't. They tried to play it out, and it didn't work out for them.
I mean, they had the ball. Their Johnson missed a free throw, 1 of 2.
Yep.
The other guard missed 1 of 2. That ended up being really key because then they were down 5, late. So it kind of made a big difference there. All right, let's talk college hoops today, though. Let's start with you, Robert. What do you like here for a free play for everybody this afternoon or this evening?
All right, I use this one in the newsletter, and I will use it here. And honestly, if it's okay, I'm going to give out 2 free plays, if that's cool. The free play one is McNeese State. I really like them today as a 5-12 against Clemson. I know everybody's all about the 5-12s, right? And you see that the odds makers have reacted to that in the way that they have shrunk the spreads below what they should be. Like, that's every square bettor's go-to, right? 5-12 upside. It makes sense. Like, a 12 is beating a 5 in 33 of 39 NCAA tournaments. So I get it. However, against the spread, I think over the last, whatever it is, 20 years, something like that, it's only like 62 and 59 against the spread. However, there is a subsection of 5-12s that has been extremely profitable. If a 12 seed was in the NCAA tournament last year, they are the year prior, they are 25 and 18 straight up and 33 and 10 against the spread. McNeese State was in the tournament last year. They got boat raced by Gonzaga. They were kind of a trendy underdog pick last year, like 6.5 point favorite. They got run out of the gym. They're taking another crack at it this year. They're getting 7.5 points. They have 2 high major players that I like. Kadir Copeland came from Syracuse. Brandon Murray has kind of kicked around, but they have some high level talent right there. So that'll be my first free play. If we have time, I'll get my
Hey, Robert, any worry with, I still can't believe the Will Wade news snuck out yesterday that NC State is going to hire him as soon as this game is like, I mean, how does that happen? How did they not keep the lid on that?
Well, major mistake right there. But am I worried that is going to impact these players? No, because a majority of these guys are seniors who are going to be done anyway. Anybody else that's worth anything was probably going to transfer. Like, that's the life of a player at like a small school at McNeese State. If this guy was at like a major conference team and was leaving, like if West Virginia had made the tournament, right? And then it came out that DeVries was leaving after this year to go to Indiana, 100% I would have been worried about it. But these guys at McNeese State, like this, they're not going to win the NCAA tournament. They just want to win a first round game. This is good. When they lose, this is going to be the end of some guy's career and most of the end of their careers at McNeese State as they move on. So no, I think everybody is still rowing in the same direction with this team.
I was a little surprised. I kind of thought someone in the SEC would end up hiring Will Wade just because he had success, obviously, at LSU. But I think it's a good hire for NC State. I mean, Will Wade, I know he kind of got, maybe cheated, maybe didn't, who knows. But
so what? Calipari cheated. Yeah. He still has a job. Cheated. He gets job.
Like, good hire. Good hire.
He's a dick. Like, he's like still there. So
that's as good as hire as you're going to get if you're NC State. So good hire for them. All right, free play, Griffin. What do you like here?
Yeah, correct. I got Yale versus Texas A&M. Texas A&M's laying 7.5 points. We have a total sitting at 139.5. This immediately caught my attention. When you have a low total at 139.5, and then you have a team laying a large number at 7.5, immediate red flag in my eyes. This is a trap incentive in my eyes. Yale, they dominated the Ivy League. I mean, they proved domination all season long, coming out as champions. This team's 16-9 against the spread this season on top of that. Texas A&M, they've been stout all season long. There's absolutely nothing to take from them. But what's the motivation factor going to be for them? Obviously, yes, this is round 1, and it's a must-win game. But how balls deep are they really going to go in this matchup? When you're giving me 7.5 points, by the way, Yale's played all season long, and they're a very good covering team, especially on the road. And obviously, we have neutral site in play here. So obviously, road play does come into play. So I really am on Yale in this matchup. I love them, and I'm taking the 7.5 points over Texas A&M. I think Texas A&M wins this game, but considering the factor of laying 7.5 points and the total at 139.5, that tells you it's going to be a tight game. That tells you there's going to be a squeeze in play, or Texas A&M just going to beat the living hell out of them, and Yale's not going to score points. I don't see that happening. Yale scored points all season long offensively. They're a pesky beast. I mean, they're top 30 ranking when it comes to offensive points per game, and they bang from the arc and the field. So I like Yale here in this matchup, Craig. Give me the points at 7.5.
I like that one. See, we had James ask about if you're having an issue ever logging in, we actually have customer service line. So give them a call. Right here's the number on the screen. You can get it at the top of the website as well. So you can call if you ever have issues buying a picture.
And they're not salesmen. I want to be extraordinarily clear about that. If you call into Doc's line, they are not. We do not have salesmen. We do not have a sales team. We have customer support that are just there to put out fires and help with issues. Yeah. So never be nervous about calling in thinking that somebody's going to give you the hard sell or something like that. No, if you're having issues, call in. You'll talk to Guy. Guy will take care of you.
Yep, and then we have 7 days a week, by the way. It's a little bit limited on the weekends, but still. And if you go log on the website, it tells you when it's live. All right, but I do think Yale, the one worry I have in this game is Yale is one of the big public underdogs. I saw somewhere that 86% as of yesterday. Now, of course, maybe that line came down as far as, but all the big money was on Texas A&M. All the squares, as they say, public underdog was on that. So it kind of worried me that maybe – those are not usually the way to win betting in March Madness. So that is, even though I liked it too, Griffin, that is just buyer beware out there.
It's March Madness, Craig. All hell to break loose. There's no money handle. There's no nothing.
The
guys are running.
The 4 biggest percentage of teams of wagers made were all underdogs.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that tells you what has happened with the Jay Bellis of the world going on there and saying, hey, these are the live underdogs to watch out for. They can win a couple of games. And all of a sudden, then people go take that and say, oh, these teams can cover as well. Maybe they can, maybe they can't. But just be careful out there.
It's like the Super Bowl, right? People bet more on the Super Bowl than they should because it's the Super Bowl, right? Yeah. Because they want that bragging rights of, I cashed this big Super Bowl ticket. It's the same thing with the NCAA tournament. It's a psychological factor that impacts the lines and the numbers. People want to have that underdog. They want to have that underdog ticket. They want to be like, when they pull the upset, I had that ticket. That's more important to them than looking at just the straight up value. We talked about that VCU BYU line. That's a little short tonight because everybody wants to have that VCU ticket. Michigan, UC San Diego. This game that he talked about, these underdogs are getting shorted on the number of points that they mathematically should have just because the books are smart enough to know, hey, people are just going to take the underdogs because they want to brag about how smart they are.
And it's usually about a 1.5, just so people ask if you know, it's about a 1.5 to 2 points, probably what they should be. If you just said, hey, it wasn't the NCAA tournament, it was just a neutral site game.
Right.
It's about 1.5 to 2 points, which people say, oh, that doesn't matter. You watch how many of these games come down to the 1 or 2 points this weekend. It will be or the next 4 days, it will be a ton. So, Nick, what do you like here at Free Play? You have a gem for us? How about a favorite?
Hopefully this game doesn't come down to 1 or 2 points. We got North Carolina Wilmington versus Texas Tech. Minus 14.5 here for Texas Tech. Wilmington, they beat Delaware to punch their ticket to the big dance. They are 8-2 in their last 10 games here. While Texas Tech in the Big 12 tournament, they lost to Arizona by 6 points in that one. But this Texas Tech team, they rebound the ball absolutely phenomenal. They dominate the boards and they pressure you on the defensive side and they hit their perimeter shots. This line, to me, it might scare a lot of people, a lot of public bettors here, but I think Texas Tech absolutely blows out Wilmington. I don't think they're going to be able to keep up with Texas Tech and the way they play. So I would lay the points here with Texas Tech minus 14.5 tonight against NC Wilmington tonight, Craig.
I like that one. And the reason why Texas Tech can absolutely score the basketball.
Yeah.
And they shoot tons of it seems like everybody shoots tons of threes now. But I like when I'm laying big numbers, I want teams to shoot lots of threes because, hey, if they get hot, that's the easiest recipe to cover these big numbers. So,
Mama G, it's up.
I think McMillan is playing. No, Williams is playing tonight. McMillan is a game time decision. They've been dealing with some injury issues. But I looked at this game as well. And actually, it's interesting that you picked this game as a free play because one guy on our site has an 8-unit game of the year in the play. Another handicapper has the opposing side. So you're seeing a lot of people feeling strongly both ways. But if you look back at Texas Tech, what they did in the non-conference, when they played teams they were better than, they buried them. They didn't they pounded teams. You look back, they got a lot of 25, 28, 36, 37-point wins. So when you look at it that way, that 14.5 doesn't look like enough.
Well, I'm interested to see 3 conferences this year. In the tournament, especially early, and maybe that affects some of my plays tomorrow, maybe not.
The MEAC?
Mountain West, SEC, and the Big 12. Like those three, I feel like I know what the Big 10 and the Big East are. Like in A10 even, probably. Those three conferences, like either the Big 12 and SEC were the best two conferences by far, or is real top heavy. The other ones just got some benefit of catching them in right spots, some of these teams. Mountain West, like I thought San Diego State would be able to hang with North Carolina, maybe even beat them. So my play today is actually Utah State. Like I think Utah State can win this game. Like I just think the Mountain West is better than what San Diego State showed. And to be honest, I think the Big Ten is highly overrated. Like, I think Michigan State overachieved this year. Great job by Tom Izzo. I think Michigan somewhat overachieved this year. I think Illinois, same way. I think Maryland, the best team I think is Wisconsin and Purdue. But on any given day, these guys have lost to anybody, like, and got blown out. So to me, I just think the Big Ten's a little overrated. UCLA, Mick Cronin, I know all about him. He was in Cincinnati. I actually worked basketball camp with him when he was an assistant coach at UC, and I was playing college basketball. He's a prick. He is a prick with a capital P. But I tell you what, the dude can coach defense. But his offense, like sometimes, like they struggle a little bit. I'm taking Utah State here. I think they can win outright, but I'm going to sprinkle just a little on that. I'm going to take the points with Utah State.
28-62, man. 28-62. That's the Mountain West record in the NCAA tournament. I'm not saying about your play. I'm just saying in general, the Mountain West has been complete and utter trash. I love Mountain West. I'm one of those guys every year on Selection Sunday that's like, the Mountain West should have had more teams. Like, this is a really good conference. Like, people kind of underappreciate how good the basketball is out there. So I'm a Mountain West guy, but there is just absolutely no denying how bad that conference has been year in and year out. And I was thinking about it during the North Carolina game. I was like, why the hell didn't I just bet on North Carolina just on spec? It's the Mountain West. Like, you kind of got to bet against them. So
usually there's one every year. That last year was obviously San Diego State. So I think Utah State has that feeling of what they did last year, where it's like they can win more than one game, I think. And that's always good, because I think the Mountain West will then start to get respect. But unfortunately, even if you just win once, you don't win to get to the second weekend.
Sure.
It's kind of like I'm not saying you're not a real conference, but you don't get that respect. And then that happens the next year, you're seeding. You know what I mean? Like your seedings. I always think they get, they're always like a seed line down than what I think they should get, because they don't get that respect because they haven't had the success in the tournament, other than a few instances. Robert, you said you had another free play?
Yeah, I like Auburn. Lay the 32 points. I know that sounds insane, but everything about this number is saying, please don't bet me. Please don't bet on this game. I'm not going to dive too much into the weeds, but this is a rated play for me. This team is from the SWAC, the worst conference in basketball by the metrics. This is the worst team that Auburn has played this year, okay? They have only played 6 teams ranked outside of the top 100, which is a phenomenal stat. Like, Auburn played everybody. Those 6 teams they beat by an average of 37 points a game. They beat some decent mid-major teams like Vermont. They beat them by 50. Richmond, they beat them by 50. Georgia State, they beat them by 41. Those are kind of real teams from real conferences, and Alabama State is not a real team, not from a real conference. They only have 2 guys on their team that are taller than 6'6", going up against those Auburn monsters. One of them is a 7'1" guy that starts but only averages like 14 minutes a game. The other is a 6'10" sophomore that, like, Johnny Broom is going to floss his teeth with this guy, okay? And the big thing about this is I think Auburn's motivated. They've lost 3 out of their last 4 games. People were questioning whether or not they should be the number 1 overall seed. So I don't think they're going to coast in this game. And here's a great stat. Great stat. So when you're thinking about Duke, when you're thinking about Florida, when you're thinking about Auburn, the team, the eventual national champion, okay? I know we all wish we knew who the national champion was going to be, but the eventual national champion is 111-27 against the spread in the last 23 tournaments. The last 2 years, Connecticut won back-to-back. They went 6-0 against the spread in both of those things. The team that wins the national championship, they don't just kind of win some close games, or they usually bum rush people on the way to the national championship. So if Auburn is a real team, and I think they are, and if they're a real national title contender, which I think they are, I think they bury Alabama State in this game. And this one has a feel of like 98-47 type of thing to it, where it's not close. They're up 25 at the half, and they put it away early.
I mean, you also have that Alabama State, of course. If you guys didn't see it, Google, YouTube, the final play, the home run play that kind of got a lucky bounce and they win at the end. They were pretty much down that game. So it's like that was a lot of emotion to use up and then have to travel and face what is probably the most dominant team. They might not be the best team. We'll see. Like, we don't know. But as far as they just have dudes. They have just big guys. Big guys don't play college basketball anymore. I always say they just play on the perimeter. Their guys can play inside, outside. They punish you. Like, that's a tough matchup for small teams like this.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like those two big men, the guy who only plays 14 minutes a game, he's 7'1". In those really bad conferences, you can have that 7-foot guy that just stands there like this. Like, Auburn has 7-foot guys that shoot 3-pointers, dribble, that can play basketball type of thing. So once the other guy gets in foul trouble and they can't defend the basket, again, it's about motivation, right? Like, Auburn is 50 points better than this team. If they want to beat them by 50, they can beat them by 50. If they don't, if they just want to coast, then they're not going to cover this game. I just think they're motivated because of the way that their regular season and SEC tournament ended, and the fact that people are now starting to question their viability as a national champion.
Well, yeah, I think that the end of the year kind of, I won't say struggles, because, they play really good. Like, you're playing really good teams. They're all teams in the tournament. So it's not like they were playing, little sisters of the poor. But that's not the way I'm sure Bruce Pearl wanted to head into the tournament. So maybe this is hey, let's get it right. Everybody gets their 15 points, so that next come Saturday, they're super confident. And because obviously the 8-9 game, it has been where some big upsets have happened for these number one seeds lately. So I'm excited to see what Auburn does today and on Saturday, because I think Auburn's better than what people even think. And just because they had a couple losses towards the end of the season, people are like, they're bad. Let me tell you, Florida's really good. Tennessee, really good. Alabama, all these teams that they're playing and losing to are probably the top teams to make it to the Final Four. So outside of Houston and Duke, all the teams I like are from the SEC to make the Final Four. So it's like, those are the two that I think are for real. Now that, you never know how it works out. Someone might, lose, and you don't have to play those SEC schools. But that's what I like. All right, Nick, anything just real quick? I'll get one from you and then one for Griffin. Any other free play that you like for today?
I would say, I don't have it in front of me. I had Creighton, actually, the +2.5. I love that play. I think they're up. They were up 15 or something at half. But another play would be looking at High Point and Purdue. And Purdue comes into games very slow.
22-21 with 7 minutes to go. Purdue's winning by 1, FYI.
Purdue starts off usually really slow. So a little gem, I would look at High Point first half. +4. High Point comes out of the gates in their game swinging. So if they want to compete, and they're going to want to compete while Purdue comes out slow, I would look to take a first half on High Points. I believe
that
it was
game started. So
his free play is on Xavier -3.
So it's 7 minutes ago. They're down. Purdue's up 1.
He's got Creighton and he's got High Point for and Parlay.
I didn't even know it started, to be honest.
Those with Xavier and North
Carolina.
You
know what? Take St. John's -18.5 tonight.
There you go. But you say that High Point does start off pretty strong. Would you then in-game the opposite? Because now you're getting value on Purdue. They're only up 1.
Yes, if Purdue goes down 5-6, I would look to live bet Purdue to win the game.
Like in that 3 to 4 point range?
Yes.
Probably then? Okay, yeah. All right, Griffin, any gem there you like as a free play?
Yeah, Craig, it's Drake versus Missouri. Missouri's laying 6.5 points. We got a total sitting at 132.5. And Drake, what a season this team's had, winning the Missouri Valley as champions, going 30-3 on the year. But here's the thing. Every single person and their grandmothers are talking about this Drake team and how they are the sleeper team. If you're going to pick one team to win it all, who's your sleeper? It's going to be Drake. Well, why in the first round against a team like Missouri are they getting 6.5 points? That's an automatic trap incentive in my eyes. This is a reverse psychology flip. 6.5 point differential. Missouri was just 22-11 on the season. It's not like they're playing dominant basketball. I want to say they're like 5-5 in their last 10 games. So they're playing okay basketball. And Drake, 30-3 on the year. They're on an insane winning streak. They've dominated just about everybody they've played so far. So this looks like a huge trap game to me. Everybody's going to be on Drake. Everybody's going to be taking the points. How many games has this team won in a row? 17, something like that. I don't have the number in front of me, but I know they're on a massive tear right now. They're getting 6.5 points. Missouri, they've been good. They haven't been great, but they've been good. I think they're in a good spot here, but I'm laying the points at 6.5 with Missouri. I just think this is a trap incentive. I think the public is going to be all over Drake in this game, and they're going to get smash mouth for it. And that's just how I see this line set up. I don't have any individual in-game metric stats that I'm going to throw at you or key players, key perspectives. I just think Missouri's the better team, and I think Dre's getting dropped into a shark tank in this matchup. So I'm laying the points here simply off of my psychology, looking at the number, looking at the line. It just doesn't make sense to me. And that Missouri laying a 6.5 point spread, that just pops off right off the wall. So I'm laying the points here in this one, Craig, with Missouri at -6.5 over Drake.
This was one of the big public underdogs. This line should be probably 8. This was one of the big public underdogs. I think it was like 86% of the bets. That doesn't mean the amount of wagered, right? Because there's the big money people are on with you, Griffin. So otherwise, this line would be continually to move. So don't be clear on that. But all the square bettors are running to talk about Drake because they have the most wins in the tournament, as far as just pure wins, and they're on this winning streak. And people remember what Drake was last year. But guess what? The coach is gone. Now he went to West Virginia. Now he's at Indiana. They have a whole basically new team. Their best player was in Division II basketball last year. He ended up being the player of the year in the conference. So, but all those stories, you know what that equals? Like it's like like a puppy on the screen kind of thing. Yeah. It's like, everybody's running to the window to bet them. So I originally was thinking Drake, but I'm with you. I stayed away because I'm like, man, this number's low, and it's probably, I don't know what we have here. I didn't look through all of the wagers, Robert, but I'm guessing we have a couple guys on Drake, but I'm guessing we probably have more guys the other side.
Not really. A lot of people stayed away. I'm with you, though, 100%, Griffin. I used this in a teaser. I teased it down to 1. Yeah. I feel like this is going to be – and the only reason I did that, and Mark Mitchell, the leading scorer, the starting big man from Missouri, was questionable. So wait until game time. Make sure he's playing. I saw that number go from 6.5 down to 6 at some books today, which kind of made me think that maybe he's not playing, which made me put it in the teaser instead of ready to play. But even if he doesn't play, I still kind of like them. Like Missouri's got a lot of shot makers, man. They got a lot of dudes that can put the ball in the hole. The Missouri Valley was down, and I just like the way that you're reading that line. It's almost begging you to take Drake, and it's kind of being appreciative of just how good this Missouri team is.
Missouri beat Auburn just 3 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago.
So they have some legitimate wins, man. They've beaten some very good teams, and they've lost games to very good teams just by a couple buckets. So, I mean, this Missouri team is competitive across all cylinders.
They can score, man. They have Caleb Grill is a real deal. They got a bunch of dudes that can put the ball in the hole. And if they get rolling, this one could be a blowout.
All right, so that's what we have for today. We're going to be back again tomorrow. We're going to do tomorrow about the same time, same crew here. Hopefully everybody can commit to that. But we'll try to do about 20, 25 minutes so that way you really don't miss many of the games. But we'll have a lot more information. I can't wait to see because I can somewhat take what happens today and at least apply some things to tomorrow. Like I said, I already have a top total. That's not going to change that, but I might have a different side opinion depending on these conferences that I'm watching today and how they do. So make sure, don't forget, this is just one of the 4 days of the first 4 days. You don't have to bet everything today. You can, be smart about it. And don't forget, get the Doc Sports $60. Go to docsports.com/free. 60. Let's see if I can get it to it. There you go. Free 60, all for new customers. We got some huge plays today, so get in on them. And don't forget, we'll be back in tomorrow. I hope all your bets are winning ones. Good luck.